Right, this is definitely the last video. I'm not doing any more. I hope they've been used to you with some way. I'm really sorry I never actually thought about doing this before. But in fairness, I did only learn how to do this about a week and a half ago. So I know it's a very short time till the exams left, but you know what? You can all do it. We've done everything 7 times. So I'm just going to do this last little bit of miscellaneous stuff once more, then we will done. Right. So we've done contributions of each approach. We've mentioned the beliefs and the theories, kind of that go with them. General theories is the same thing. I've doubled it up. Talked about your practical comparisons of the approaches. Again, this can come from strengths and weaknesses. This can come from how they explain behaviour. This can come from evidence for them. So you can use like gender as examples and so on. So remember, you also need to know all of your research methods. This includes experiments, correlations, observations, self-reports, types of design, types of sample, strengths and weaknesses of all of those, especially primary and secondary data. Remember, primary and secondary data are the key bits for kind of this unit, so you definitely need to know about them. You should know about animal experiments or animal ethics. You need to know about human ethics. You need to be able to plan your own experiments, remembering that you need to design in an experiment, you need a coding scheme and an observation, and whatever else. We'll talk about reliability and validity in the lesson on Friday. So you'll have already had this had that lesson by the time you listen to this. So that should be clear and obvious now. We shouldn't have any questions because I'm sure we sorted it all out. So what I'll finally do, this last little bit, is I'll flick through some of these kind of miscellaneous questions in the workbook that you have got with all the questions in, and any that might cause a problem, I'll kind of flag them up, but I'm not expecting too much problems. So current contributions done there. So ethics. Again, remember you need to know the ethics, can do, can't do with participants, and you need to be able to describe them. It's probably unlikely it'll come up again as an 18 marker. There was an 18 marker before asking you for a minimum of 3 ethical guidelines from a minimum of 2 studies. So again, it's all the stuff: protection from harm, consent, confidentiality, right to withdraw, right to privacy unless they're in public, confidentiality of any results on a questionnaire or a pseudonym in a case study. Right to withdraw. I think that's the majority of them. Deception and debriefing, sorry, is the last two, the 2Ds. So one of the things that you should try and actually remember about this is a lot of you, when you did that question, because you did it and you did okay, was that you should also include kind of positives as well as negatives. So don't just go for, or don't just mention studies that are all negative for ethical reasons, like Milgram and such. Or you can use Milgram and argue kind of why he was ethically okay. But try to mention a couple of studies that might have been okay ethically. So for example, it was Brown or Goldstein, I can't remember now because my brain is absolutely frazzled. They let people leave the study. They've got an obvious thing where 42 decided not to be part of the study. Again, I'll scroll slowly, or you can pause it, videos. These are a couple of the questions they've asked you where you've had to plan your own experiments. Remembering you need your design, you need your IVs, you need ethical issues, you need to talk about qualitative data. They've asked you to say whether something's high or low in ecological validity. They've asked you about explain how the research might be carried out an observation. Again, to plan your own observation, 6 marks, remembering coding schemes, types of sampling, and so on. All of these questions, asking you to plan things. This one's about reliability and validity, and we will look at that in the lesson, so you'll have covered that, although we have already talked about it several times. Animals can't be applied to people. It was done in a lab, so ecological validity, it's the same procedure because of the controls. All of the basic stuff. All of this should be kind of second nature now. Questions of ethnocentrism, we've already kind of looked at the mark scheme on that, and social control. Is psychology a science? So again, these are in the mark schemes that I'm going to send you. Just keep scrolling. These are the sort of questions you get on the approaches. So as you can see, there's very short ones, generally about like how did little hands, how do you improve it. And then there's the first 18 marker, describe the contributions to society of cognitive and psychodynamic approaches. So we've covered that, and compare the two approaches in terms of scientific status. Done that. Describe psychodynamic explanations of human behaviour and evaluate explanations of using at least two other approaches. So, sorry, I was a bit wrong. I thought it was about scientificness in a previous video. It's not, but they wanted three things really: comparisons to two other approaches and psychodynamic. So this is one of those questions really where they just want you to do a brief outline of the theories and the studies. Remember, if you're sitting there looking at this 18 mark question with the right little panic, the 18 markers, question 9 on the paper, you get to choose. So hopefully you'd have been much kind of more confident with the other one, but we can look at these 18 markers in class. But honestly, again, it's very open. We just have to kind of go with what you can best do. But it should be nothing that you haven't done or nothing that you're not capable of. I know you're panicking, but I honestly don't think there's much reason to. You'll be okay. Then we've got the stimulus question. These are again those 18 mark questions where the blurb is important. So this question on the sea container, the ship that's crashed, explain why the people might be nicking from the ship. So we can talk about again agency theory, how they're following the orders or they're ignoring the orders of the police to steal them because they're not in the agentic state. You can argue either way. We can talk about how they might identify themselves as not a forager, I forgot what you call them now, like beachcomber or whatever, a looter that's stealing all the stuff, and they see the police as an outgroup. We can talk about Bowlby, and how they might all be affectionate psychopaths because they were abandoned by their mothers. We can talk about Freud, how they give in to their id and not listen to their superego, and so do these things that feel good. We could talk about all of the theories of crime. Social learning theory, self-fulfilling prophecy, Eysenck, Rain, whatever. We could talk about all of these things, and the evaluation would just come from the evaluation of those theories. So if you know social learning theory for crime and you know the evaluation, like it's got this study for it, this study against it, this is the problem with it, another explanation is this, we can use all of that. Remember, these exams are not set to kind of throw you off. They are not set to give you bad examples or bad grades. These exams are just there for you to talk about what you know. And the biggest problem I think any of you have will be if you have kind of brain freezes about what to talk about. You're all well aware of the theories and can talk about them mostly. This next one, the Montbrella nursing home. I know I've looked at it several times and you're all sick of it, but we can talk about CBT, anger management, token economies. We can talk about sedating patients, and again, it's then social control and evaluation of those things. The next one down is another 18 marker, saying you will have covered how harm can be done in society. They give you a few different examples. So they talk about false eyewitness testimony, so people get sent to prison is a harmful act. They talk about prejudice and social identity theory. They talk about Milgram's agency theory. And what it wants you to do is describe and evaluate two ways. You can use these three. You can evaluate at least two. Remember, what a lot of you do will go for just two, but if you can do all three of those, that's great. Remember, it also doesn't need to be those three. You can throw in whatever you know about. You could talk about crime. You could talk about anything about what causes these sort of problems. What would cause harm in society. Affectionate psychopaths again. There's so much we can talk about. And remember, the 18 markers are just 12 marks. Don't get caught up on the 18 marks thinking that's a lot more. The 6 marks, remember, are for kind of written quality of English. I'll show you one of the mark schemes of this. I know you've already got them, but I'll just point it out here. One at random, and then I'll drag it in. Just opening now. Just giving you a running commentary. Getting I've been doing this for a long time, and there we go. So that's really huge. 2 seconds. Make it smaller. Okay, you can't read that at all. 50%. Yeah, and then I'll just remove the box. So I'm going to scroll through this. I'll jump to the end to start with, because it's the 18 marker. So as you can see, this is the one, by the way, on team of psychologists wants to carry out research. This is the one about monkeys. It's somewhere in the big question booklet. I have no idea where it went actually. I think it's under research methods. Hold on, I'll quickly scroll up to research methods. And here was something I'd meant to cover. I apologise. Yeah. So there's various questions about research methods. These are the sort of things you'll get. Again, I know you've got this booklet, and so on. I have no idea where that question about monkeys has gone. I think I've missed it out of this massive booklet that I thought had everything. But I've given it to you, and I'll make sure I do show you it in class on Friday, so you should know it off by heart by now. So they talk about the ethical, animal ethics of this study, about giving gender replacement surgery to monkeys, basically. And as you can see, the first bit of it is based on 12 marks. Good knowledge, good balance, contextualized, remember, context, point, explain, example, all the way through, all of the basic stuff is worth the 12 marks. The 6 marks are then just added in. The 6 marks, sorry, I'll show you the guidance. 6 EO2 marks rewarding structure and focus on description and evaluation. These marks are rewarded independently of the context marks and should reflect the overall impressions gained from the essay in terms of ability to express and develop arguments. It's about doing balanced arguments, yeah, showing strengths and weaknesses, kind of as roughly as good as each other. Both injunctions, so describe and evaluate, used. So the balance should not just be between strengths and weaknesses, but between the describe and evaluate. It's no good doing 2 pages of description and then a paragraph of evaluation, and you know that that's no good. Did you use evidence to support it? Yeah, things that you should have already done. These 6 marks are just things that are added on. Yeah, and spelling and grammar and punctuation are part of that. Yeah, but really what we should be focusing on when you're doing this is kind of the quality of the written answer. Is it a good essay? Right, that's it. This video went on longer than anticipated. That is everything I can do for Unit 4. So we've done 8 videos. That basically I've sneaked in an extra 2 hours of me teaching you all. Obviously it'll take you longer if you want to make notes and all this. Or you can totally listen to this on your iPod and things. Not that any of you would do that. I doubt any of you even got this far, and I'm just talking to myself. Right, so I'll finish it there, and I'll see you in the exam. Remember, I'm available in the A2 slots on Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday before the exam, I'll be in college at 7:30. Anyone wants to join me is free to. Don't panic, you can all do this. You've worked hard all year. Right, I'll see you soon. Bye.